todo, enhorabuena, ya la segunda película, esperamos una tercera. ¿Cómo ha sido enfrentarte a este nuevo reto? Yo te reconozco que tenía un pelín de miedo, porque las segundas partes a veces no son buenas, pero esta ha estado muy guay.
Well, let me tell you, I was scared too, so... Yeah, it was like, to your point, I was first of all flattered to be able to do a second one, because it's kind of rare, you know, that you can just like make a first film that is, especially a first-time filmmaker, make a first film that warrants a second or sequel. Definitely I was a little, not scared, but at least a little very aware that sequels usually are not as good as originals, and I wanted to make sure that that I was not falling in that category. So the first thing we did was like gather the same team that knew the world and knew the style of bad guys super well, to make sure that we were very much in tune with what we did in the first film, and just were able to just like evolve that first movie and make a second one that felt really, really good. Interestingly enough, when we did a public preview of the first film, and it was still a work in progress of the film. It was like storyboards and layout and some animation. And at the end of the preview, the moderator asked the audience, "Would you want to see a second film?" And the audience said, "Yes, absolutely, we want to see a sequel." And one of the people in the audience said, "Yes, but I'm not sure how they're going to be able to top that one, just to make something better or as good as that one." And I think when we heard that, we were like, okay, challenge accepted. And I think that's what like propelled us, like that desire and that need to do something that felt a true continuity of the first film and quality as good as the first film. And I think we succeeded. Honestly, I think this second one is probably even better than the first one, so I'm very excited about it.
Sí, la verdad que sí. Y bueno, ya habéis dejado esta segunda como con un continuará de la tercera. Te quería preguntar, en esta tercera, ¿ya tienes planeado algo de lo que puede llegar a pasar en la tercera película?
Of course I do, yes. Of course I have ideas, because, you know, we leave it very open-ended and with tons of like possibilities for a third one. So there is like, again, the movies are coming from books, and so we have 20 books and we can mine tons of ideas from the books, and we already did. And so there is ideas for the third one. Not that we know that there's going to be a third one yet. I can't say that, because, you know, it's all dependent on many things, like in particular whether or not the audience are going to go and watch the second film. But we're feeling confident, and, you know, like we want to be ready in case the studio asks us to do a third one. Then we'll have some really good ideas to wrap up the arc of our characters.
La película trata mucho las segundas oportunidades. ¿Crees que en la vida debería darse más oportunidades a la gente que en un inicio pues, nos ha portado bien y puede reencauzar su camino?
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. Yeah, and I think but it's natural just to be afraid of the unknown and afraid of somebody that hasn't behaved the way they should have behaved. But I mean, of course there is parameters, right? You know, we'll just like make sure that person would come and prove that they've changed, that they've evolved, and they can now function, you know, in a good way. Or like, when I say good way, it's like with caring about other people, and just like, but to me the point like is that I don't think the action that from your past necessarily define who you are, even though it's a really interesting question, because sometimes you're like, can you really change? It's a bigger question. I think in the movie we're just like, for people like this that clearly have changed, we're kind of saying, yeah, we should give people second chances.
Hay veces que prejuzgamos, yo esto lo veo mucho también en esta película reflejada, ¿no? Que se prejuzga a alguien por cómo es o cómo es físicamente, ¿no? ¿Te has planteado al contrario, una persona que físicamente es como muy buena, muy dulce y llevarla a ostras?
In the first movie, this is Marmalade. Marmalade presents as the greatest citizen, and he's like kind and everybody love him. Turns out he's a villain. So it's kind of like definitely just playing on that trope as well. It really is the thematic of the first film, like not judging a book by its cover. That's the way to say it in English, where the first impression is not necessarily the right impression. You can be deceived by looks, and I think Marmalade is playing that role. So, yeah, does it make sense?
Sí, pero yo me refería a, bueno, eso, pues un personaje que estamos muy acostumbrados a ver como, ay, súper bueno, no sé qué, que tú, yo creo que tú le podrías sacar su lado maligno.
Bad.
Como la metáfora que has hecho de el lobo feroz puede ser bueno, pues un personaje que todo el mundo conoce como súper bueno puede ser malo.
Character. Yeah, that's what I'm like in the first. Remember the first movie? That's what I'm saying. Diane Foxington. She's a good character. Turns out her past is a villain, And then again, Marmalade, like he's like representing goodness, and turns out he's the villain. So I think we're playing with these tropes definitely. I don't know that we have that in this movie. Potentially in the third one we may have that.
Sí, no, pero yo me refería, es que no sé cómo explicarlo. Como una cenicienta, ¿no? Que todo el mundo sabe que la cenicienta es buena.
Oh, I get it. I get what you're saying. That one that we all know that is like not as good as like that. I think like in the news you just find these people everywhere, isn't it? Like full of these people, sadly, Look, like right now, like Didi's trial is happening like in the U.S. I don't think people who knew him knew exactly who is this person. The general public, he always tried to present as a like big cool guy, but and now it turns out he's a freaking monster. So, like, there's so many examples of that we can all think about, right? Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Of course, pleasure. Absolutely.